What is up, YouTube? So today we're going to do a knife review, okay? So what you see here in front of you are some very top brand knives, and just a little disclosure, I'm not sure if these are clones, direct clones, or if they're straight from the manufacturing source. What I'm going to do is each brand and each model, I'm going to post up the specs directly from their site, and then I'm going to go over and post up the specs from the ones I purchased, and you could compare the two, and if they're directly the same, you could determine if you want to buy the one I have shown here, or if you want to go ahead and spend a lot of extra money on the one directly from the brand itself. Okay, we'll definitely compare those specs, and since not all of them I have a actual physical real knife to compare it to, the ones I don't, I'll definitely include pictures for them as I go into detail for each knife individually and do an up close of each knife. But if you're interested in any of these knives, definitely look in the description below, and there will be a link to eBay where you could purchase these knives. And also, if they do good and you guys want to purchase more knives, I'll definitely update that eBay account so that way you have access to buying more of these at a fraction of the cost. Okay, so let's go over these reviews and the specs and everything, and do a comparison. Okay, so the specs on this Esee Izula, for this one itself, it's calling out a steel blade and an ABS plastic sheath. I may include some paracord with this, so definitely pay attention if you're interested in this when you click on the description to see what it comes with and everything. Same for the other knives. As you could see some ribbing. You could hear it a little bit in the sheath itself. So let's see if you can see that. And then when you pull it off, this one's black. It has a powder coat finish to it. The texture to it is slight. So show up close of it so you can see the little ant. This is the, I believe, serial number. You could compare it to whatever image I put up here. You could compare this one to, as well as the specs. I'll put all the specs up. So that's the blade itself. Okay, now for the specs. So what we're going to do is measure out the whole blade itself and compare it to the real specs on their website. So the overall length is 6 1/4. So if we measure it, we have 6 and a little bit over 1/4, between 1/4 and 3/8. So depending on where that measurement's coming off of, this is what you get. Okay. The blade length is 2 5/8, but that's what you get. These will definitely be at a reasonable cost if you're interested. As far as the sheath is concerned, when you slide it in, it does lock in pretty nicely. As you can see, I'm pulling on it and it's not coming out. Okay, the inside of the sheath. And then when you look at what you get, so you get basically the card. It says Etsy and all that stuff on it. It's a phone number, everything. And then it has just basically a little card here that's like survival tips or whatever. I'm unsure if you get that with the real one, the one straight from the manufacturer. And then of course you have a layout instruction thing, and it doesn't come with everything you see here. I may include the paracord. You could also add grips to it. They're called scales if you don't know. Etsy basically sells these micarta scales that you could add to your knife, and it's a scale that goes on one side and then the opposite side, and then there's a stainless steel bolt that goes on the front and the back that sandwich it together. And so you could kind of do your research and determine if this is a right purchase for you. That's that one. Now let's go into the next one. Okay, so the Spartan Blade Enyo. This is the real deal here. I know this one is a clone. And the reason why I was interested in this one is because the size of it. Okay, as you can see, the size difference. Not necessarily that this is a clone and that's the real deal. It's basically comes down to the size. So when grabbing the real one, you know, it's real tiny. So it's a nice knife and all, but I hear a lot of complaints that this is a little too small. They wish it was a little bit longer, and that's why they have this Spartan bead on it, the little extended paracord to it. And basically with this clone, you get a lot larger knife. So as you can see in my hands, I got fairly big hands, so I get a full purchase on the tang itself, and then of course your blade in the hand. So this is very substantial, and I believe this is more the size that I would want to carry. Just to get a comparison between the two, if you're interested, that's what you have. And then for the size difference, you're talking 2 inches. So this is a full 2 inches that you're gaining on this knife compared to this one. So this one will be up for sale as well. So there's no brandings on it. It does have the same cutouts right here. It does have the serrations up here. Has this number right here, little serial number thing. Okay, so for the Spartan Enyo copy, the larger one, what we have is a full length of 19.8 centimeters. We'll go over the measurements in inches. I'll measure that out for you. The blade length is 8.5 centimeters. The blade thickness is 3.9 millimeters. Blade is 440 steel. So that's the material that they're using. And for the real thing, for the Spartan Blade, basically what we have is the SVN35 still for the blade. It says it right here, SVN35. It's kind of hard to focus on, but that's what this blade is using. And then they both have Kydex sheaths. The difference between this one and this one is of course going to be the price and the size, the material of the blade. This brand new is about $150. Okay, so $150 if you were to buy this, just comes with the knife, the bead, and basically your paracord, and that's it. Okay, I had to purchase this belt clip thing separately. This one's not for sale. This is only for sale, but just to go over the specs, this was another, I believe, $29.99 or something like that for this belt clip. Now let's compare everything to the Enyo clone. Basically you have the Kydex sheath, and then you have this little grip here. That works out good if you're grabbing the sheath and pulling it apart, so pulling your knife right out of the sheath. Okay, I kind of like this sheath a lot better than this sheath, only because of the design. I like how it's cut down here instead of going up to a point. This won't dig into your skin as this one may. Also, I like how it cuts back here. This one's kind of an edge still. It does come with the neck lanyard if you want to carry this around your neck. So comparing these two right here, of course they both have the little safety clip. So that one's locked in. Now that's unlocked. You open it. This one's the same way. You gotta squeeze it. This one's a little harder to open. Once it's open, you have this little piece that basically locks it in your belt. So your belt will go up to this edge. This one doesn't have that. You have two here, so you have to move this one and put it up here. And then of course you have your positioned one where you can move it up and down that ladder. This one has multiple positions to adjust it for how high you want it to ride up on your belt. This one has least movement here, but I doubt you're going to use all these. It's really negligible, but that's the comparison between the two. It could be just because it's a different manufacturer, so they designed it a little differently. When you close it, they both have these recessed screw locators holes, and then you close them both, and they both have the curvature here to push up against your waist. This one just has branding, this one doesn't. So all in all, they're pretty close to the same thing. Okay, this one's going to come with, of course, this longer piece of paracord, so you could basically make it shorter if you want, like that, or you could do some type of braiding on it, or weave it in and out of the handle. It's up to you. You have these eyelets. Two are already used because it does come with this, but you could basically unscrew this and then position this piece whichever way you want on your belt. So you could either put it on this side and turn it left to right, however you want to mount it, or you could put it on this side and do the same thing. As you can see, I have mine in reverse, so if these knives were to face each other, mine's on the other side because I carried this on the right side of my hip at this direction, so that way I could pull it off in a hammer fist type grip, whereas this one would be purchased maybe on the left side of your hip, where you would push out and pull in this manner. Okay, but these are totally interchangeable as far as front to back, and then the rotation. All you have to do is take a Phillips or a flat blade and unscrew it and reposition it. It has these little standoffs here, so that way this curvature doesn't basically tilt your belt clip, so that's pretty nice. And this is what you get. Okay, so as far as the measurements, the blade itself from the point to the curvature is 3.5 inches, and then from the curvature to the end of the handle is about 4.5 inches. So from here to here is about 4.5 inches. Okay, and then the width is 1 inch, and then this is a little less than 1/8 inch thick. Okay, so this knife is not a clone of any knife that I could tell, but the reason why I bought it was because the blade still is SVN 35, according to the description, and it has like this satin gray finish. It's pretty nice. So you have this jimping right around the rear, which is a little different than most knives, because usually it's around this area that you get the jimping in. It has this branding here, but from what I could tell, this is its own knife. It has two little holes here to mount paracord, It has a slot here where you could weave paracord in and out. I may include some paracord with this, so look out for that. It does have these finger groove cutouts here that fit 3 of my fingers. Remember, I got larger hands, so you might be able to fit all 4. In this last one, you might be able to fit 2. So if I try to fit 2, it goes all the way to here. So 3 of them fit. So I may include that paracord just in case you want to put a bead or something at the end of it if you have larger hands. About right here is where my thumb is. Okay, to really press down on stuff. We'll go over the blade length and all the specs right now. This blade, surprisingly, is really sharp. Like, I don't know if you can hear that. That's just me barely scrubbing past it. But this one's really sharp compared to the last 2 that I showed you. The Spartan Blade and the Esee knife. So that's surprising. Nice sharp point. Like, that's really sharp, that point. It has... So I don't know all the technical terms for these knives and stuff, like drop point and stuff, and the curvature of this blade. So all the specs that I don't list will be shown above, so that way you kind of know. If you're really into knives, you should already know these terms, so you could kind of just look it over. Okay, the finish is really up to par. Like, I mean, that's a really nice finish. And this one's definitely going to be at a reasonable price. But it's SVN35 still. I would try to cut something right now. Let's see if I have something for it to cut. I'll show you that. Let's finish up the specs. So, of course, you got this Kydex sheath with this molly webbing. And I believe these are... I think these are aluminum. These are aluminum, I believe, because they're really light feeling. They feel really light. The finish, yeah, the finish is real smooth on them too. Like, this is a really nice knife. You have a loop here for your belt. Of course, it goes in, so you get this wide opening for it to go in. Slides in, and then you also got this little button clip, the whole thing. Okay, let's measure this out, then we'll do a cut test on it. Of course, you could sharpen them yourself, but I mean, surprisingly, this one's really sharp right out of the box. So you're looking at around 3 1/4 to the bottom of this edge here. You have this nice relief at the bottom here. The cool thing about these reliefs is when you sharpen them on a stone, you don't have to worry about going all the way across like an edge. It's like you could go and then stop, right? Because there's no blade here. It leaves a gap for you. Whereas like the Esee knife, it goes straight into the handle. So it's like that continuous movement might scar up your handle. Whereas this one, it's like you could kind of stop at that edge without like nicking the nice finish of a handle, which is pretty cool. Let's measure this though. So the whole thing measures out 7 1/8. Okay. The blade thickness is about 1 inch. From the highest point here is about 1 inch and 3/8. And then your handle here to the points are about 1 inch, about 7/8 to 1 inch, and then on the inside about 7/8. So about 7/8 from here to about here, and then the point to the top is about 1 inch. Blade thickness here is about 1/8 inch thick, and then of course you have your tapered grind as it goes down to the point. Okay, so let's run this through. up close. So that's that one. Okay, so this is the G10 Venom 2. So the handles, of course, are G10. The blade is SVN35 according to the markings here. It's hard to see, but it says SVN35. Kevin John, this is the manufacturer's Kevin John. Venom has a little snake head right there. From what I heard is he used to make knockoff knives, and now he makes expensive resale knives. So all the pricing is going to, of course, be shown here. And this is like a carbon fiber spacer here. As you could see, it's like a matte finish. It's layered. You could attach some paracord here. You have this nice cutout to kind of accent with the back side of it. It's a frame lock. So of course this cutout right here is in the frame. It's ball bearing flip according to the description. So it's real smooth. And as you can see, it folds up really smoothly. It has this unique design here where it has a cutout here machined out, and then it has this pizza slice finger assist here instead of your typical little round stud sticking up. It's sharp right out of the box. This is like a titanium finish. Whatever specs I figure out that this frame is, I'll post it. It looks like it's titanium according to the description I have, but I'll definitely post all the specs for it. So as you can see, the stud that goes through to hold the actual blade itself, it's like this unique looking shape. So let's just do a detail look past it. You have serrations here and on this side. It's only on one side, which I think that's really unique. Usually it's on both or neither. You have serrations back here, or jimping, whatever you want to call it. But this is pretty cool where it goes from the G10 scales. This is really grippy right here, and the design of it, it's really grippy, and then it goes into the liner lock, or the frame itself kind of accents with it with the offset. It's a really nice knife. This is going to be priced fairly reasonable, so keep an eye on that. The specs that I have here are going to put you out at 4 7/8 from this tip to here, with the blade of, let's see, 3 5/8. So from the tip to here is 3 5/8 blade. And then the thickness, let's see, you're looking at about 3/8 from frame to frame, and then a 1/16 on the scale thickness. For the blade itself, you're looking at a backbone of 1/8 inch, around an 1/8 inch right here. And then of course you got your grinding in this area. It kind of tapers up, so it tapers up that way, tapers down here, and gives you this really unique blade. So that's this one. That's a Venom 2. Okay. So here we got the American Trail Maker, and the brand is Tops. So you got this really large kydex sheath for this really large knife. This one's heavy duty, like really heavy. You got the paracord here. Pop it open, of course. The kydex sheath. Let's go over just a little quick overview. That's pretty unique. I've never seen that before. You have 2 little screws here that you could take off and put like a little quick belt loop on there. You could rotate this around so that way it's hanging in this direction. It's up to you. This will sit lower in the pants, so when your belt goes right here, it's going to sit a lot lower. You have these eyelets, and then you have these cutouts, so that way you could strap it to a backpack or whatever you have. Okay, so here's the blade itself. It's like a powder coat finish. It's sharp, but not very sharp, because this is more of something that you would use to hack away on wood. This has some heft to it. So let's go over the specs on it. Okay. So the material, of course, is 1095 RC blade steel. That's what it is. The blade length is 4 inches. Overall length is 9 inches. Then you got micarta scales. Okay, so looking closer, you got this cool little ripple effect here for the jimping. It's unique. Never seen that before. You got this jimping all the way into the micarta scales here. Then you have this little pocket swell right around there, which gives it a good feeling in your palm. Got more jimping back here. You got little star bolts all the way across that sit flush. Little unique pattern here. I'll powder coat it. It's almost like the finish is like a wrinkle finish. So it's like a wrinkle black. You got your branding here. American Trailmaker ATM, USA, and all that branding right there. Got a star bolt going all the way through to like this rivet head, this little dome rivet head. Got the cutout for your finger. It's finger groove. As you can see, it's large in the hand. And then this paracord is fished through 2 little holes here. So it's hard to see because it goes all the way through. So basically there's a cutout in this this tang here. So there's a hole straight through it, and then there's these unique machined out basically holes that allow the paracord to be fished all the way through and look seamless. It's almost like it's coming out of nowhere, which is pretty unique. So you could either keep this or basically weave it however you want, or cut it off, whatever. That all comes with it. So as far as the size is concerned, the blade itself, you're looking at about 3 3/8. So from the tip to right here, the blade height about 2 1/8. Blade thickness, looking about 3/16. And then handle thickness, you're looking at 1/2 inch with the scales. And then your overall you're looking at 8.5 inches. Okay, this thing has some weight to it, so you could use it in a hatchet motion because the weight of this. These scales are pretty smooth. They do have some texture to them because they are layered, but for a trail knife, this is really nice because it's really universal. You could use it as a skinner or a hatchet for light brush wood that you want to chop up real quick without having to bring a hatchet with you. So that's pretty nice. So here we got a Microtech Stitch lineup, and basically these are like $350, $380 knives, whereas Boker, theirs is like $1,500. I'll show you an image of all that, those specs and those layouts as well. But before we get into this overall review, I just want to mention these scales here are aluminum, so they're aluminum machine, just like the real deal. And this one here is a nylon machined out. It's a nylon glass fiber handle machined out just like the aluminum ones, but the weight difference between them is substantial. Like when you hold them both in your hand, these are really heavy due to their blade size, whereas this one here is a lot lighter because it reduces the weight with the nylon handle here. So we'll go over each one and get to those specs as we go. Okay, so these are automatic knives, so when they get shipped to you, they may be locked down or somehow disabled, so that way depending on where it's being shipped to, laws are different. So certain places you can't have an automatic flipper. So what I may do is put a zip tie or whatever across here to hold it down, so that way it's not illegally imported into your state. Or I may just 3D print a lock for it, where basically it would house in here and it would hold this blade open as a fixed blade when you receive it. And then of course I would wrap this all up so that way you don't get cut, but that way you could legally receive it in any one of your states and don't have to go through the hassle. But of course whatever you do after the fact is up to you, and it'll be able to be disassembled as far as the locking mechanism, whatever I use. But I want to be able to ship these to you legally in your state without you getting in trouble. And then whatever you do after that is up to you. As a disclaimer, I'm thinking a zip tie going across here would be the easiest, where if you do clip it, I don't recommend you clipping it, but if you did clip it, that's on you. Okay, so this is an automatic knife, so when you push the button here, this is the nylon handle. So let's go over that. You have this nice hardware going across there. As far as the spacer's concerned, that too is also nylon for weight savings. There's a hole here so you can put paracord there or clip. It says Microtech right here. Okay. You have a machined out recess in this nylon handle that allowed the belt clip to sit in, so it's almost seamlessly flush. You have some more texture there. You have this bulge here that corresponds with the button here. Okay, you have these all this hardware is basically starred out. It's not Ellen. And then you have the symbol here. These are all etched in, so it's not like it's painted. Okay. And then since they're automatics, you press this textured aluminum button here, hold on to it because it does have some kick to it when it flips out. So of course you have the branding and everything on there. See if that comes in focus. Let me turn on the light so that way you can see a little bit better. So that's what you get. Of course, this is a really sharp point, and these are fairly sharp already straight out of the box. You do have some serrations here cut into the knife. You have this large blade here. When you grip it, you could grip it all the way up into the blade itself and not just on the handle. So if you look at that, you could grip it back here, or you could really grip on the purchase. And I like this long edge here because since I got larger hands, it allows me to get way up on the blade itself to apply a downward motion if you're cutting into something. In this fashion, it allows you to get over the center of the blade to really apply a lot of pressure to it. Okay. So the blade design is really unique. When locking it back up, basically all you do is it's locked, you gotta push in, close it, let go, and it won't come undone. Okay, so that's that one. The other one I have here, this one's made out of D2 steel right here as far as the blade is concerned. This one claims to be M390 still, so everything's basically the same except for this blade is M390. You do have aluminum scales, of course, and then you have an aluminum spacer with all the jumping on it. A side-by-side comparison between them. If you look at the spacers are slightly different too. This one has 3 little machine rings to it. This one has 2. So this one's real heavy compared to that one. I don't have a scale to weigh it, so I can't give you the exact measure or weight measurements. But this one flings out just as hard. See the Microtech Stitch. All this is etched in. You can feel the texture to it. It's not a smooth texture. It's like it's lasered into it. Everything's basically the same. You have the branding on the belt clip itself, the offset here, and that one locks up solid. This one, I couldn't find it in the Microtech Stitch lineup, this blade exactly, but I thought it was cool. That's why I did purchase this one. You have the branding here. It's a lot larger than these other two. So as you can see, this one flies out. Blade itself. So it goes from the regular grind to the black finish, which I thought was pretty unique. So the specs on this is, it claims to, well, of course you have the aluminum handle and then the M390 blade. You have the aluminum spacer, and then you have the Microtech basically laser cut logo on the belt clip. That's that one. So that's going to conclude my video today. All these knives will be available in the description below if you're interested. Again, all the specs should be there as well, so that way you can compare them. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. This is trying something a little different to see if anyone's interested in what I could provide for them. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see content like this and other content I'll be posting, or if you're interested in any of these knives, definitely leave me a comment, hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up. Greatly appreciate it. Until next time, see you in the next one. So of course the boxing that it comes with for these two knives will come in a box like this, with the overboxing like this that has all the branding and stuff. So if you're a collector and that's what you look for, that would be all provided. So you can see. So you have all that for these two knives only, the two aluminum handled ones. I mean these two, the ones with the aluminum scales here. And then you'll also get this pamphlet here that it comes with. So as you can see, it has a cut right here, which I think is pretty cool because you're dealing with knives, and this looks like one of those paper tests. So you have everything here. Look on the back side, you have everything here as well. Okay, so that's what it comes with. Okay, so if we measure this out, basically our blade length is gonna be 3 inches from the point to this edge here, to the ending leading edge. And then of course you have this relief cut right around there. So as you can see, the relief cut here. The blade width is gonna be, at its highest point, 1.5 inches. So from the top of here to here is 1.5 inches. Blade thickness, you're looking about an 1/8 inch thick blade, and of course it tapers out as it gets further away from the center of the knife. And then your handle thickness, you're looking about 3/8 thick. So the thickness of this whole unit here is 3/8. And then the overall length that you're looking at is 8.5 inches from tip to end point. So that's the general spec of it. And then for the height of the handle, you're looking about 1 inch high as far as this consistency here is concerned. So it's a pretty large knife. So one thing that I want to mention about the nylon felt handle here is they do come in colors. I believe they have 3 different colors now, black, red, and green. They may have a blue handle as well. So if you're interested in any of those colors, let me know, and I may consider stocking those as well. But for now, those are the colors I have. So definitely let me know. So for all you beer drinkers or water bottle drinkers, whatever you have, if you're into that military vibe as well, I got these bulletproof vest little koozies for your drink. Multicam, OD green, and coyote brown. If you're interested in those, definitely check those out in the description below as well. Just a little brief overview on these. They are basically Velcro. So if you look here, they're Velcro side tabs. So you could open them up. Full Velcro on the sides. And then you have these little pads right here that are Velcro as well, giving it that authentic bulletproof vest look. And then the inside is also meshed out. Then you have the infinite size for Velcro down at the bottom, so that way if you have a lot smaller cup, you could Velcro it as small as you need to get that look. They also have all the MOLLE webbing all the way down, 3 rows of it, and then your drag handle up here for the back, Velcro across the top for all your patches, Velcro on the front for all your patches. You could also adjust it right here for the straps. So these are all Velcroed, so you could lift them up and put them all the way down if you need to make it smaller. So this is what it looks like as far as the Koozie is concerned on a water bottle. I didn't suck it down all the way. This is like basically the average size of it. For smaller bottles, of course, you want to adjust it down. And that's the multicam. So if you're interested, definitely keep an eye on these, check these out.